podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR!
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Spanning the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is Subject Cinema's Avengers Endgame MCU Countdown.
We're getting closer and closer to the movie everyone's waiting for. Welcome to Subject Cinema's Avengers Endgame MCU Countdown. I'm TC Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
April 21st, 2019, Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we are up to movie number 16 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the fourth film in Phase 3. Tom Holland, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr., Marissa Tomei, and a host of newcomers in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
Well, here we go. True confession time. We've been shooting these in advance, recording these in advance, so we have the time to get them up and running. We've been trying to, this is the only film in the MCU universe we did not see at the theater. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but we just were not able to get there. And we haven't had time to see it since then. We were going to watch it and review it for this. Unfortunately, our schedules just keep getting screwed up, and we did not make it, and this is our deadline. We're actually recording this on Easter Sunday as well. So I do apologize. We are not going to be able to bring you a review. But we do want to give you an overview and talk about Tom Holland and his loose lips.
Oh my gosh, you're so rude.
Well, I mean, they stop giving him the script. They just give him the page and tell him the line and tell him to act what's there in front of the green screen. He doesn't think he has any human companionship in most of his scenes.
Well,
so
I'm not sure about, not this movie, not with this movie, that's with like later movies and such.
No, that was with, that's with Endgame.
Oh, okay.
How they filmed him with Endgame.
Well, I meant, it didn't happen
Infinity
with
War,
this
whichever
movie.
one.
Anyway. I gotta say, Tom Holland, it's not that he's doing this out of a sense of malice.
No, he's just a natural blabbermouth.
Oh my gosh. You're so mean.
I'm not the one that keeps tweeting pictures of Tom with his mouth taped shut. You know? I know that would have some bondage people freaking out, but I'm not going to go there. Anyway.
I refuse to answer that question
on
the grounds it may incriminate me.
Family show. And you don't really mean it anyway. So, anyway.
Well, no.
He's not the only one. Mark Ruffalo's had to put up with that.
Yeah, too. Mark Ruffalo, who tweeted not tweeted.
He live streamed part of the Avengers Infinity War premiere by accident.
Yeah, because he left his phone on.
He left his FaceTime live on or something.
Scientific genius! Yay! Yeah. But I think it's just that Tom is so exuberant and he's so excited and he wants to share things with people. Woo-hoo. That's not a bad thing. I mean, I know that the people that are above him, the studio people, are like, Tom! That kind of a deal. And I understand that. The
directors are that way.
Yeah.
The rest of the cast is that way.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, I mean, some people want to know things before you go into a movie. I'm not one of those people.
I don't mind knowing little bits and pieces here so I can keep an eye out for them. But I don't want to know the whole plot.
No. And also the fact that they put in, that is one of Kim's rules. Kim has several rules that she always brings up, and one of Kim's rule is trailers always lie.
Yeah. Especially the Endgame trailers from what we've heard.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing is sometimes you do want to know some things before you go into a movie. Sideline, just real quick little story. TC found out about a film, looked up the stuff about the film before we went to see it, we being my friend Stacy and myself. The film was the Will Smith film I Am Legend. There is a scene in the film, spoiler alert, where an animal is killed. And
I knew Kim would freak out, so I said, I need to tell you this so you know.
He told me, this is going to happen. I want you to be ready for it. I don't want you to, freak out in the middle of the movie theater and have a heart attack or something like that, because he knows how I feel about animals and that I really love them.
Yep.
And I wasn't the least bit upset that he told me, because I was able to brace myself. So sometimes knowing things they do have we're always complaining about the little box that it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, with the, thematic images and drug use and nudity and smoking and da-da-da-da-da-da. And eventually it's going to be, unhealthy use of Big Mac or something like that. But every once in a while, that is useful information. If you know something's going to be a trigger for somebody, like stuff like that is a trigger for me. I mean, it's really weird because you can show me a film where there's just buckets and buckets and buckets of blood, and I'm probably not going to bat an eyelash if it's people.
Right.
Step on an ant and watch Kim freak out, But I think getting back to Spider-Man, first of all, I think it was really interesting what they did with this film, because this was a new Spider-Man. This is the third person to play Spider-Man since they decided to bring Spider-Man to the big screen. The first 3 movies with Tobey Maguire, and then the 2 movies with Andrew Garfield, and now Tom Holland. The thing is, this Spider-Man is already an established Spider-Man. Or more established. They didn't bother with...
They didn't do the origin story.
Yeah, they didn't bother with the origin story because, let's be perfectly honest...
Everybody knows it.
Unless you're Amish, everybody knows Spider-Man's origin story. What?
It's Easter. No slagging on religions.
I'm not slagging on religions. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. I'm just saying, if you're somebody... Unless you, live in a
cave in Guam somewhere.
Yeah, in a cave in Guam somewhere, or you're living in, Antarctica.
Right.
Catching penguins or whatever. You're probably, everybody knows Spider-Man's origin story. It's probably the third most well-known origin story after Batman and Superman.
Right.
Everybody knows those 3 origin stories. So I thought it was really I thought it was a good idea that they didn't bother with it again. Because, like I said, we all know it.
Well, they kind of brought him in Civil War anyway, which kind of glossed over everything there, too.
It established, Civil War established that people knew there was somebody out there fighting crime for the little person, fighting crime for the average guy, not as opposed to the, take over the world, hand-rubbing moo-ha-ha types. Spider-Man's that's never really been his thing. He really doesn't usually fight, not by himself. He doesn't fight the like I said, the hand-rubbing moo-ha-ha types. He's usually dealing with, he's dealing with criminals and things like that, but not the take over the world type.
Right.
But considering that Tony Stark refers to him as Spider, he calls him everything but Spider-Man. And we don't know if that's because Tony doesn't honestly know his name, or if that's just Tony being Tony. It's and they have a really weird relationship.
They do.
They have a very weird relationship. I don't know. I don't know how you define it, really.
Benefactor more than mentor.
Yeah. Well,
Tony pays for his tech.
Yeah, he does. But I think Tony's impressed by the things that Peter can do on his own.
But he doesn't want him fighting the world crimes either.
No, because he's a child. Well, he's a teenager. I mean...
Right, but still.
Yeah.
Teenagers fight crime. What about Superboy?
Well, yes, Superboy does fight crime.
And the Legion of Superheroes.
Okay, hold up. Can we go back for 1 second? Superboy fights crime. Yes, that's correct.
Talking the old school Superboy, not the modern day.
Superboy can also take a howitzer to the face, and nothing's going to happen.
Robin was 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robin had Batman.
Billy Batson was 12 or 13.
Billy Batson turns into a grown-up.
True. Well, Peter's turning into Spider-Man.
Yes, but my point, dearest, is that Spider-Man is alone. He isn't like Robin, who has Batman. He isn't.
Fair enough.
Isn't like he is Shazam now. This is getting so confusing.
Yeah.
Where he turns into an adult. He's not like Superboy, who's freaking Superboy. He's by himself. I mean, now
okay.
You've got Tony with this tech stuff coming into things. You almost get the feeling, though, that I don't know if you get this feeling or if it's just me being all, sentimental and goopy, because that's me. But you almost get the feeling like if Tony would let him, Peter would look at him as a father figure.
Probably.
Or at least a benevolent, slightly weird uncle figure. Mm-hmm. But Tony, Mr. I can't deal with commitment, has to put up these big walls, and it's aggravating. It makes me want to hit him.
Right.
It's just, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
It's annoying.
Tony was kind of a twit in the Civil War anyway. He
had
his reasons, but he was.
That's not the word you used at the time.
No, but I want to keep these clean. And It is Easter.
Yes, I know. Okay. The villain of the piece when it comes to Spider-Man Homecoming is Michael Keaton, playing Adrian Toomes, a.k.a. the Vulture. There's actually quite a few bad guys in this, but he's the
main guy.
He's the main bad guy, which is ironic as heck, considering.
Considering what?
Considering that for the longest time, Michael Keaton was the person to look at for how to do a superhero movie correctly.
Right.
This little
film. And he made fun of it in Birdman, so it's like,
little film from 1989, might have heard of it. Tim Burton directed, that one.
No, I don't know that one. What is that one? Mm-hmm. That's another genre, not another company, so let's stay off that.
I know. Yeah,
anyway.
you don't have to mention how to do a superhero movie correctly, looking at you, Jill Schumacher. You weren't all that crazy, or I remember you being kind of like, what about the casting of Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
I think that was weird, because I've never seen her as a young, swinging type of aunt. She's always been, frail and thin and white-haired. But Sally Field didn't play it that way either in the Andrew Garfield movies, and I love the way she played that.
Yes, she did. She was great.
So
I liked it. I think that, I love Marissa Tomei anyway.
Yeah, she's a great actress and doesn't get enough credit, and people are still bitching about the Oscar she won for My Cousin Benny, and it's like, are you kidding me? Mm. Give it a rest. It's been 20, 30 years. Come on, let's move on.
Mm-hmm. I personally love Tom's take on Spider-Man. And I have a feeling I'm slightly alone in that when it comes to the two people in this room.
No, he's growing on me. I enjoyed him in Infinity War, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Mm-hmm. I'm just not used to the smart alecky Peter that came along in the 80s and 90s. When I was reading Spider-Man, very seldom in the 60s, late 60s and mid-70s, he was always so dour, so, woe is me, responsibility is so heavy. He wasn't the smart alecky, flip-talking Spider-Man that has become known in the cartoons of the 90s and 2000s and in the comic book. So it's a little bit disconcerting for me. But I like Tom. I think he's a great actor, and I think I've liked him in everything he's done. And does a great American accent. Mm-hmm. He is British.
Yes.
And there's another British person playing another American superhero.
Don't start.
Why don't we just make a movie of Captain Britain so we can have some British superheroes? Anyway.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not.
Except for the fact that nobody in this freaking country knows who Captain Britain
could
is.
Make it and have it a big hit over there.
I don't know if people in Britain know who Captain Britain is, to be perfectly honest with you.
I like Tom's take on it. He has great chemistry with Robert Downey Jr., and it's like, it just really, really shines. And I thought what little he had to do with Cumberbatch's portrayal of Doctor Strange there was fun, too. But
it's Cumberbatch.
I know. Benedict Cumberbatch. Anyway, I haven't done that for a long time. Give me a break.
Yes, and it's still annoying.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I like that the two of them together, too, and I hope that we'll see... I mean, we should see more of that interaction since they're both based in New York. It would make sense.
It would.
But I don't know if it'll happen or not, and
of course,
we don't know who's coming back from the snap for sure. Anyway, although we do know he will.
Isn't some other superhero team based in New York?
There's a lot of superhero teams based in New York.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't have any idea. Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about them. They're not officially on the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet, but they will be eventually because they just merged with...
You can't see me, but I totally just
Fantastic
did the gesture of 4.
Anyway, X-Men 2. So it's like, okay.
Well, that's up the road. So
Both of them are up the road. I mean, they need to wait until the bad taste of the last Fantastic Four movie gets out of everybody's mouth.
I think the Fantastic Four is based in New York City.
Yeah, it is.
The Baxter Building.
It is.
Okay.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't.
Never mind. Forget it.
Okay.
I do want to bring up one more thing about Tom before we move on, even though we've never seen the movie yet because
I feel bad about that because we have been trying. We tried 4 times to set up a date this last week to where we could sit down and watch it, and every time something happened, and it was like, damn it.
I just want to say something else about Tom because he's so sweet. I've seen a video on YouTube of him where he went to a hospital to entertain the kids, and he was dressed in the Spider-Man outfit and doing like tumbles and doing all these in character. And I was like, that's so sweet. I was like, I can't stand it. He's so adorable.
He slips sometimes when he's doing that, though.
The accent does
slip. He
slips
he ends up in his British accent, which is really funny.
It's so cute. I just sat there and watched it, and I was just like, oh, totally heart eyes. I was like, oh, you're so adorable. I'm sorry, he is adorable. And I realize, Tom, if you're out there and you're hearing this, or anybody who knows you hears this, I am so sorry because I realize you're a young, attractive man. And you want to be thought of as handsome and stuff like that.
Oh, I think he knows he's cute.
You're adorable. You are absolutely adorable.
So we apologize for not getting a chance to watch this, but we wanted to bring it to you anyway. It is part of the cinematic universe, and he is coming up again in Infinity War.
Yes.
And Endgame. And, of course, Far From Home this summer, so obviously he's going to get better. The next movie in our list will be up tomorrow. It is... not my favorite. I gotta be honest. We'll talk about it, and we have actually got reviews of everything else. This was not my favorite film. I like my superheroes without a dose of Marx Brothers. And that's what I felt that was brought to this film. And I know I'm in the minority. Most critics loved it. It was the best reviewed film of the 3 so far. Coming up tomorrow on the Cinematic Universe Countdown, Thor Ragnarok from 2017. And we will get to that tomorrow. Are we counting down? We're just 6 days away. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So technically 6 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 5 days away. I was right the first time. From the premiere of Avengers Endgame on Thursday night in most places. We won't see it till Friday. But we can't wait to try out the new Showplace icon from Curacao. This is going to be fun. For the Subject Cinema Avengers Endgame MCU Countdown, I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.